Alright guys, welcome to the first episode of On The Turntable. This is a new video series where I'm going to be looking at certain records from my collection and speaking about some of the memories and other stories associated to them, many of which will feature in DJ sets and live streams that I'll be doing over the coming year. So kicking things off, we have bird sounds in close-up. These sort of records are amazing as far as getting samples and the sort of sounds that you can glean from them, produced for various reasons, but obviously just this one's cataloguing different bird song. There's a whole range of these sort of records out there. You can usually pick them up in charity shops for a couple of pounds. This one came from the art school where one of the students wanted to use it for her degree show but didn't have any way to record the actual sound, so I helped transfer it for her, and in exchange I got to keep her copy of the record. Just a super cool vinyl to have, and all the information on the back as well, you know. Lots of super interesting stuff about the birds and why they've recorded the sounds and why they produce these kind of records. But, you know, a real sort of 70s novelty, I guess, with these ones. Next up, we had the 6th album from Sigur Ros, Valtteri. This album sort of came out of nowhere and got me back in love with Sigur Ros again. I hadn't really listened to them for a couple of years up until this album came out. And then it just seemed like a real sort of return to form for the band. Really nice instrumental sounds, really nice sort of long drawn out ambient textures and tones to it. Just a really nice album. They also did a great series of videos to go with this album, so there's like sort of extended vignettes that you can see on YouTube for each of the tracks from this particular release. And just a super nice album to have in the collection. Sigur Ros always make a big effort with their packaging and with their vinyl releases, so you know, it's cool to have. Also, this one's got its original 1-up stickers on it, so I've kind of usually take my stickers off my records, but I've left these ones on. Obviously with 1-up no longer existing, it's kind of nice to have that reminder of where we used to sort of pick our vinyl up from. So yeah, I kicked off my mix with the first track off of this album, coming from the bird song into this, quite a nice sort of blend over. With the bird song coming into these sort of ambient and sort of, you know, typical Sigur Ros Icelandic sort of sounds. Just a really nice track to kick things off. Next up, we had the Mincecraft soundtrack by C418 on Ghostly. Ghostly is a pretty cool record label, definitely worth checking out a lot of their releases. Again, just really nice sort of ambient sounds. This is obviously the soundtrack for Mincecraft, which was quite a popular video game. And as you can see, the cover is a sort of 3D holographic sort of cover, so you know, they made a good effort with the packaging for this one. And just again, really nice ambient sounds. And obviously the vinyl itself, this is a special clear vinyl. There's a second volume of this available now, which I think is Mincecraft Volume Beta. This is Volume Alpha, but definitely one worth checking out for those sort of chill out vibes. Next up, one of my favourite artists of all time, Bjork. It took me a long time to discover Bjork's music and to really get into it, but once I did, I was pretty much hooked on her kind of vocals and her sounds. Just really amazing to see how she constructs her music and the sort of level of detail that she goes into and the sort of inspiration that she takes from nature and from the sort of environment around her. Sun in My Mouth in particular was just a super nice track, and the whole album has a sort of vibe to it that's just really quite special. Considering this album's almost 20 years old, it still sounds as good now as it did when it first came out. Also, the artwork for the album's super nice, with the illustration work over the top of the photography by Paris. You've got the swan motif, which kind of became quite famous for her stint at the Oscars, where she dropped an egg from her swan dress on the red carpet. But yeah, I think a lot of people just sort of forget how good Bjork actually is and how progressive her music's been. All the way from debut up to her latest album, she's always pushing and always moving forward with sound. And she's a real experimentalist, but also an incredible lyricist as well. Just an all-round incredible artist. Another favourite with Candale de Cali by Apparat. This is one of the lead singles from their album The Devil's Walk, which was an album I discovered in my late 20s and just really became one of my all-time favourites. An incredible sound, an incredible lyricist, incredible lyrics, just fantastic artwork as well. I really love all the illustrations on these covers. The lyrics, How Long Have I Waited Here for Someone to Come, obviously just really spoke to me as I was entering my sort of 30s. I was lucky to see Apb a couple of times live in London, and their sort of live show was quite spectacular to witness. Just the level of production and the quality of the music was quite amazing, really. I think it's one of the few gigs where I've actually cried just because of how good the music was. So definitely a firm favourite in the collection, that one. Mixing things up a bit, I had Emerge From Smoke playing from Shlomo. I caught his Boiler Room set in LA a few years ago via YouTube, obviously. I've never actually been to LA, but it was quite amazing hearing him sort of screwing up tracks and messing with the vocals and pitching them down. I guess that's where he gets the name Shlomo from. But just a really cool tune, really dark and brooding, and sort of an interesting one to throw in a mix to see where you can go next from a song like that. And a really nice marbled vinyl as well. Looking at some local stuff, we've got Black Diamond by Bones and Money. This was released on Tough Wax Records, which was a local imprint that worked with local producers and musicians and released a series of 7-inch singles. I think I've had 3 different versions of this particular 7-inch. They did lots of interesting, colourful pressings of it. Definitely a tune that sort of brings your mix into an interesting place. I tend to enjoy using my records as a way to explore different types of music and to kind of create different atmospheres. And these guys definitely, bring some sort of dark and moody vibes to the mix. And again, quite cool to have stuff that, DJs are playing down in London and the clubs down there, and then, it's being produced up here in Aberdeen in 2012. I had Inspector Norse by Todd Terr. Hope I'm saying that right for my Norwegian friends, because they always slag me off whenever I say his name. First heard this tune, Inspector Norse, over in Iceland, at a little skate comp they'd put on in the city centre of Reykjavik, and the DJ had set up and was pumping this out, and everyone was just sort of quietly grooving away. And it's just a top tune for sort of getting the groove on and getting people moving and getting the kind of good vibes going. And I really love the artwork for it as well. It's just really fun and playful.
Ding dong.
Another curio from the collection is this one by David Shrigley, Ding Dong. Is literally one side is him saying the word ding and the other side is him going dong.
Ding dong.
I think to get it in a DJ set properly you'd need a couple of copies, because it's quite hard to flip it over and to get the ding dong in time. I did edit my mix a little bit so it goes straight from ding to dong and then into the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun. But just a really cool one to have, and obviously David Shrigley's an incredible artist. I think his work's been a real highlight for 2020 and kind of given a lot of us a boost when he's shared his sort of daily Instagram drawings and posts, and really sort of captures the humour of modern life, but also taps into the sort of the deeper political stuff that's going on as well in a really kind of canny way. But this is a cool one to have, produced by Dundee Contemporary Arts as well. Next up, another classic, we've got Abbey Road by the Beatles. I played Here Comes the Sun off of side 2. Really just a classic album. This is actually my mum's copy. I love how she's got the sticker on the front with John, Paul, George, Ringo. Although obviously it's George, Paul, Ringo and John. I don't know why she put the wrong names for the list of the Beatles. And she's got Abbey Road, the Beatles up here as well, and a little bumpy sticker. A lot of people, I guess, really like pristine vinyl, but I like the fact that my mum and dad sort of customised their collection and put their names on everything and had little stickers and stuff. This copy of the album in particular I really love because the inner sleeve, my mum wrote all the lyrics on it. So here's all the handwritten lyrics in different colours that my mum spent ages writing out in her incredibly neat handwriting. And of course, although these sort of things might devalue the value or monetary value of a piece of vinyl, to me it just adds to the sort of memories that are sort of inherent in music and inherent in the collection that I'm building up as well. It's just a really cool one to have, and just a really lovely song as well. Here we've got the Roomatin Band by Fruit Bats. So this is what I really love about sort of vinyl and putting mixes together, is just being able to explore the records I've collected over the years. This particular album I picked up at the band's gig in the Tunnels and got the band to sign it as well, so it's got their signatures on the back and on the sort of the inner centerfold as well, which is quite cool. Quite happy tunes. Some of the members of the band are also in the Shins, so you can imagine the sort of sounds that they were producing, but definitely its own thing, its own band. And I really love the artwork with all these sort of high rises and sort of mini buildings as well, a little cityscape. Super cool one to have again. And I like the little band sign here, the Roomatin band. It's super nice. Next up we've got Apb Cure for the Blues. I actually played the track Open Your Eyes off of this one, thinking about Brexit and all the things that were going on just as we came to the end of 2020. Seemed like a good track to sort of fit the mood that everyone was sort of feeling. Local band again, who made it sort of big over in New York in the sort of mid-80s. Really interesting history, really cool to pick up my own copy of this on vinyl as well and to see the artwork. I love the fact that the address on the back of the vinyl as well, Red River Records, 12 St Mary's Drive, Ellen. Just a cool one to have in the collection, and a nice bit of sort of Aberdeen musical history as well. Also from Aberdeen, the Little Kicks with Put Your Love in Front of Me. So I remember going to the album launch for this particular record that the guys put on in that sort of warehouse space in the city centre. And as usual, Steve and the guys like to sort of be ambitious and put on these sort of big launch events that, you know, we don't really see a lot of in Aberdeen. Also producing the vinyl as well, you know, they put a lot of time and effort into the photography and the design and layout for the record, so a super nice one to have in the collection. I'd been listening to This Mess We're In quite a lot on YouTube, because they've got a really cool live session they did at Lemon Tree that you can watch. I'll put a link to that in the description. But yeah, a good one to have in the collection, and got a lot of time for the Little Kicks. The guys are doing good stuff, so be sure to check them out. Next up we've got Carve Every Word by Beskar Lathley. So this was the debut album from Charlie and Katie Buchan, a father and daughter duo from Aberdeenshire. The album features artwork by Stuart Allen, and I actually produced a couple of videos for Charlie and Katie as well, which we filmed down at Peacock Visual Arts. The track I played was Poppy, What Have You Gone and Done, which is a really fun track. Charlie was explaining it to me. It's actually about his hamster called Poppy, who was always escaping her cage and getting into mischief. We were going to make an amazing video of Poppy smashing Aberdeen and having her as a giant Godzilla style hamster, but unfortunately we never got around to it, and sadly Poppy is no longer with us, so RIP Poppy. Last song from the mix was Old Man by Neil Young. I still remember the first time I heard this. I was filming some artists at Limousine Bull in Torry, and they were playing the Bob Dylan radio show, and he played Old Man by Neil Young. And as soon as I got home, I looked out this copy that my dad had given me and listened to the whole thing start to finish. Just a classic album. I'm sure a lot of people already know how great Neil Young is, but this album in particular has a real place in my heart, and certainly Old Man. And the lyrics to it seem quite poignant with the sort of state of things with Brexit and all the rest of it. Really love the texture of this album, you know, this sort of the paper it was printed on and stuff, and the sort of photograph on the back of the band set up in an old barn somewhere. Just a really nice sort of timestamp for that period when, you know, Neil was making those kind of tracks, making that kind of music. So that's it for the first episode of On The Turntable. I'll be putting links in the description for all the records that I spoke about and all the tracks. There's also the live mix that I did, so you can hear the sound from that on Mixcloud, and I'll hopefully be doing a live stream pretty soon, so be sure to tune in and check it out.
These are just words.